Well, welcome to our Bible study. This is about Israel and about the history of Israel. You know, it's important to us to keep up with them. God tells us the things that affects Israel and Jerusalem affects you and I, and we need to stay up with these things. So following Israel is important to you and I because it'll help us see the future as it unfolds. So today we left off where Jesus is born in Bethlehem, and we looking at 27 to 30 AD is when Jesus' ministry took place here on the earth. And then 30 AD, we see that Jesus was crucified. Now that's when he went to the cross. He shed his blood for forgiving your sins, and that is our forgiveness in the only way. 66 AD is Jewish revolt against the Romans. Then 70 AD is the destruction of Jerusalem in the Second Temple. 74 is the fall of Masada, and 132 AD is when the Roman emperor destroyed Jerusalem and then rebuilt it and then named it under his family's name, and which was a pagan city. But he had changed that at the time because he had conquered it, and at the time he held the power to be able to do that. Now there's many holy sites that were preserved, but they also contained pagan shrines, just like what we have talked about here as they changed the names of things. He also renamed the country of Israel to Palestine, so we can sort of understand where Palestine comes into the picture. Before that it was Israel, now it's Palestine. This is a name that is derived from the Palestines. Now this particular leader did this in an attempt to remove any association the Jews had with their land. So you see, it's been almost since the beginning. They have been trying their best to destroy Israel and separate Israel from God and from their land and from any of their history. That's why it's important for you and I today to understand that our history is important to us, because we see here how these people are trying their best to abolish anything that Israel had that they could call theirs or country or history or anything like that. Now there was a Byzantine period. It was a 313 to 614 AD. The word Byzantine refers to the period of time between the Roman Empire Constantine, which relocated his empire 330 AD from Rome to this place, which is modern day Istanbul, and ending in 1453 AD with the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire. Now, when we think about this particular empire, it lasted more than 1,000 years, but it only controlled Israel for some 300 years. In 638 AD, the Muslims took over the Holy Land and sort of, if you will, run the Holy Land at that point. Now, after that, many churches and monasteries were destroyed by the Persians or Muslims, and most of them were not rebuilt until the Catholic Crusaders came in 1095 AD. In 313, the Emperor Constantine recognized Christianity at that point. He later converted to Christianity as a fact. Now, Constantine's mother gave to the Holy Land and built many churches and Brazilian holy sites along the way. And in 380 AD, Edit of Thessalonica declared that Christianity was the only official religion of the Roman Empire. So you can see at times Christianity would rise, and at times they would push it down and it would fall. Now, when we look at periods, we see the Persian period at 614 to 628 AD, and 614 Persia, which is Iran, their conquest of the Holy Land and many churches and monasteries were destroyed. That's when the Byzantines recaptured Israel in 628 and 638. And 628, the Holy Land was recaptured by these people. The Muslim period was 638 to 661 AD. Muslim in 638 conquest of the Holy Land was completed. They ruled over Damascus and Baghdad and subsequently from Egypt. Then we see the Muslim period of 661 to 750 AD. This is where the first and second temple were located on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and the Dome of the Rock was built there by these people. Now, so you see back in 661 and 750 A.D. Is where the Temple of Jerusalem was set, but they come in and take over this. Now, the Muslim period, 750 to 969 A.D., Jerusalem and the surrounding area experienced relatively stable but indirect rule with less imperial attention than under some of the other countries or people and leaders. Now we see again 969 to 1099, which was again a Muslim rule, and 1099 AD, an Egyptian Muslim destroyed many of the Christian buildings in the Holy Land, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which sent shockwaves through Christianity and birthed the Roman Catholic Church to invade the Crusaders and conquer the Holy Land. So we see here how the periods, they just was a lot of them, and some Israel fared well in and some they didn't. Now the Crusade period from 1099 to 1291 AD. And 1099, in response to the destruction of many churches in the Holy Land, the Muslims in 1099, the Crusader Catholic army from Rome, captured Jerusalem and many parts of Israel at that time. The Second Crusade in 1147 arrived in the Holy Land. In 1187, destruction of the Crusade army by Muslim leaders. The collapse of the Crusader kingdom had started at that time. Then in 1265, Mamelukes, led by a sultan, conquered the Holy Land. In 1270, final crusade arrived and all the participants are massacred. In 1291, the last crusade stronghold of Arco was taken, ending crusade rule at that time. And then in 1291, we see other rulers begin to come up. And then in 1333, Franciscan order established in Jerusalem as members cared for holy places and pilgrims. And by the end of the Middle Ages, the country urban centers were virtually in ruin. Most of Jerusalem was abandoned and a small Jewish community was poverty-stricken. Political and economic upheaval, plagued locusts, invasions, and devastating earthquakes darkened the period of this particular time, and we see a drastic decline in it. We're going to come back with Ottoman the next time. We're going to stop here, but you can see how Israel was in and out. I mean, it's just a wonder that this little nation is still standing, but it shows that God has always blessed them. God has watched over them and has taken care of them. And as long as they're God-fearing people, God is going to take care of his people. Well, God bless. Share this with someone and invite them to come and join our group. Have a wonderful day.